up with me, Melissa Natu, the fountain of knowledge that is Lawrence Barretto, and the man in the know with all the tech, Sam Collins. And we are here, of course, at Monza, the Temple of Speed, and it has been a big week for announcements. Obviously, the biggest one is George Russell. He has finally been confirmed at Mercedes, which is huge news, right? We've speculated for so long, and it's happening.
Yeah, it's probably the worst kept secret in Formula One. I know in Hungary, I asked George about his future and he started laughing, then couldn't stop laughing because he probably knew at that point, like he said in our interview for the pre-race show, that he basically knew, and it wasn't signed until Spa. So it's nice to get that out in the open and for the raft of driver announcements that they've had in the last couple of days.
Well, I've desperately been asking Williams engineers up and down at the paddock about George Russell's toes, because that designing factor at the front of the car is actually when they had to make the decision, that was the crunch point. It was the front of the car, because George's feet, well, they're bigger than that of the other drivers. So Williams and Mercedes will have had to know which driver they were having in to fit their shoes in the front of the car.
Good facts. Obviously, as well, Alex has been confirmed to join Williams, which, again, I'm very happy to see him getting that second chance in F1 again, which not a lot of drivers do get, and a lot of people are very happy to have him back in F1. We are going to speak more about Alex a bit later on, but it's great news, isn't it?
Yeah, it's great news. It's great news that he's got a second chance in Formula One. I think it's nice for him. He's super talented. They've been talking since around Silverstone time of trying to get him in to this team, and a few other dominoes had to fall into place. What would Valtteri Bottas do, for example? But like you said, great that Alex, who is George's mate, takes his mate's seat, and we get another chance to see how good he is next year.
Absolutely. And we've got some fun stuff coming up. You'll hear George talking about the topless selfies a bit later on, but first we are going to hear what he has to say about going to Mercedes.
Been a big talking point for quite a long time now, so just purely from that side of things, she's happy to have it all signed and sealed, almost put it to one side and just get back focusing on the racing, because I guess as I always do, I just want to focus on what's important in the here and now, which is this weekend, Monza, and doing the best job possible for Williams, but obviously very excited for the opportunity.
Have you got a steep learning curve ahead of you now, do you think?
Yeah, of course. I mean, having the opportunity to go up against the greatest driver of all time is going to be very challenging, very difficult, but one that I'm really excited for, because I'm in the opportunity to learn so much. And obviously Lewis is a 7-time world champion for a reason.
But there must be a part of you with how much Williams have come along this year that's like, you would love to see what they're gonna, be in that car and see what it's like next year, right?
Yeah, of course. It is mixed emotions, because you, on a personal level, you build up these relationships so well over all of the years. We've come such a long way, and it is sad to sort of end this chapter, but equally, very excited for the next one.
It's great to hear what George had to say there. He's never made it any secret that he wants to learn from Lewis, so I'm really happy for him there. We are outside now. Haas, of course, there are two teammates who have had a bit of friction. I did speak to Mick earlier, and he said they did discuss it internally, and they're going to keep it internal. But I don't know if you heard anything more from, you spoke to Nikita, right?
Yeah, he didn't really want to talk about it all that much, to be honest. He was kind of saying, well, Mick's got his view, I've got my view, that's how it is.
What do you think?
Well, the glory of the F1 TV app and the F1 TV package is that you can listen to all the driver team radios. So I went back and listened to the communications of both Haas drivers on that qualifying lap, and it's quite clear the team did give Schumacher permission to overtake his teammate and go out and do that lap. So yeah, it is an internal issue, and it will be interesting to see how that plays out. And of course, you are able to listen to these messages, so I wonder if we'll hear more things like that, particularly here, coming out of the Parabolica, getting that lap, getting that toe. That's going to be so crucial around this Monza circuit.
And we are now outside Alfa Romeo, who've also had some big news this week. Bottas confirmed.
Yeah, they were the ones who really kicked things off, didn't they? Well, Kimi Räikkönen technically did, I guess, by announcing his own retirement and catching the team off guard. But Valtteri joining on a long-term deal. I think it's quite exciting for him. He gets to lead a team. It's a new project. It's a multi-year deal. When was the last time he signed a multi-year deal? So it's nice to have that kind of security. And he's still super hungry, and I think that's why Alfa Romeo were quite keen on him, why he's quite keen to stick around. And that kind of just set off a train of developments in the driver market.
Yeah, and I spoke to Kubica, because obviously he's sitting in for Kimi again, who is unable to take part again this weekend, but he was saying, Bottas is going to bring a lot to the team. So I think, he's going to be a great job. Let's hear from Bottas anyway.
Gives peace of mind knowing what's going to happen in the future, and of course it's an exciting new chapter for me in my career. But obviously the main focus for the remaining 9 races is going to be here at Mercedes and trying to get that 5th constructors title together in a row.
I was going to say, does it change anything in your mind about how you approach the rest of the season, or are you going to be looking to see what Alfa are doing or anything like that?
I don't really think it changes anything for now. It's like I said, it does give me peace of mind, and everything is sorted, and I can just really focus on the job, and I know what the future will hold. So take it race by race, and I'm definitely keen to get more wins. So that's of course one goal.
Hearing from Bottas there, of course, we don't know who he's going to be paired with next year, right? Do you have any idea?
Well, I haven't decided yet. I'm hearing that Guang Yu Zhou is the leading contender there. I'm also hearing that it's not going to be Mick Schumacher. He's probably going to be staying put at Haas.
Yes, we know that. Do you have any idea? Does anyone have any idea?
Well, something that I've been thinking about is the Ferrari Driver Academy. You've got Callum Ilott out there. It looks like he's gone off to IndyCar. Yes. But also, let's not forget Robert Schwartzman, the Russian Auto Federation driver. He's kicking around. He's extremely talented. He's gone really well in F2. He's got to be in with a chance. And then why aren't we talking about Robert Kubica? He's in the car this weekend. Yeah. He's got a contract. He can drive there, and the sponsor quite likes him.
God, there's a few good options. Obviously, we're outside Ferrari now. Home for them, obviously Monza, which is huge. The Tifosi, they love this track, and Monza is a great track. It's so fast, so amazing. What do you think they can do around here this weekend?
I think both of Charles and Carlos were a little bit disappointed to say that it's probably going to be a difficult weekend for them, not as bad as it was last year, and so that's a good thing. But I think they're not going to be challenging kind of at the front of the midfield unless something dramatic happens.
Yeah, this is a high-speed, low downforce track. Yeah. The Ferrari likes high downforce, low speed tracks, and this is the opposite of that. So I think Ferrari in for a really difficult weekend. The power unit in the Ferrari just doesn't seem to like these really long straights, and it's something that the team have tried to address with some new upgrades, but they're not going to be ready for this weekend.
No, and Alpine, we've got a sprint race this weekend. I spoke to Fernando, who he said, he's got a lot of experience around this track, but he does wish he had more horsepower. But these guys have been fast, right? And I think we could see something pretty special from them.
Yeah, we've seen a lot on Fridays this year that Alpine have looked pretty good. They've got 2 guys in the top 5, generally speaking, and in all truth, they tend to tail off a little bit as the weekend goes on. You know what? I've given up trying to predict how these guys are going to perform because it's just been so up and down this year.
They seem to just drop off in qualifying, don't they? It's like they haven't got those high engine modes that the other manufacturers have. But Fernando, he was amazing at Silverstone in the sprint, overtaking all those cars, and he really made the show.
Yeah, I'm excited to see what they can do. Fernando is, confident, so let's hear what he thinks he can do. It's a sprint weekend. You impressed everyone in Silverstone. It was 6 cars on the first sprint lap. Do you think you could do something similar here?
I hope so. But it's going to be a good test for the format, because I think Silverstone was a nice test. But here in Monza, we may see things a little bit different. The first 2 corners doesn't allow too much action, because normally there are 2 trains of cars in the 2 lines, inside and outside, that doesn't allow too much action. So let's see if we can see good overtakings and good action, but it's going to be interesting to test the format once more.
Yes, and how much do you think experience plays a big part in doing well around this track? Because you obviously have plenty of experience around Monza. There are plenty of people who are coming into this and don't have that experience.
It is always important, especially because we have only 1 free practice before qualifying tomorrow, so it's going to be important to start with with the right confidence in the car, with the closest setup possible to the race weekend. But in a way, Monza is a lot of full throttle time on the lap, so I prefer to have 30 horsepower than experience in Monza probably.
I was saying, do you still really enjoy driving around this track? It must be amazing.
Yeah, it feels different than any other track in the calendar, because the low downforce car feels very fast on the straights, quite tricky on the corners. So it's pure adrenaline for sure driving in Monza.
I mean, would you look at that branding up on Aston Martin? They are making it very clear that they are all about Bond this weekend, and it's exciting. It's exciting to bring a bit of showbiz to F1, which is what we need. I don't know who's going to be here this weekend, but I'm excited.
Yeah, I'm not sure if Daniel Craig is going to be attending, but it's a pretty cool vibe, I think, at Aston Martin. You may as well play up on it if you can. And I'll be interested to see how they go here, really, this weekend. Sebastian and Lance, they kind of were playing their cards very close to their chest. Aston Martin have been, I would say, a solid midfield team. They've had some high weekends, they've had some pretty low weekends. Lance tends to go well here, got the podium here. I know when we were chatting earlier, Sam, you was like, well, he could have won last year, and that is also true. Yeah. He had a front row start here as well, so I think he likes this place, and who knows, it could be a good weekend for him.
Good, for sure.
Well, Sebastian definitely likes this. Basically, he won his first ever Grand Prix here for Toro Rosso, Italian team, of course. But I think Aston Martin are going to leave the midfield a little bit both shaken and stirred with the performance that long wheelbase Mercedes powered car does. But actually, for me, the highlight is they've got the Goldfinger DB5 out the back here, which looks absolutely exquisite.
Sam, how long were you waiting to say that?
Quite a while.
Yeah, I thought so. Any more puns this weekend that I need to be aware of?
Don't encourage him.
No odd jobs coming around here at all. No.
Red Bull, obviously, they've had another announcement. Alex Albon is going from Red Bull to Williams, so that is huge for them. How do you think that's going to impact them?
Yeah, I think Red Bull really fought hard, really, to find Alex a seat on the grid. It means that they're, of course, going to lose a reserve driver who's done a lot of work for them in the simulator. Yeah. He's been crucial, Max and Sergio have said, this year in the efforts that he's put in there. So losing him is going to be disappointing for the team. But I think it shows how much they rate him, that they want him to be on the grid next year.
Yeah, and there are so many people who are really happy to see that Alex is back. So many friends. I'm sure you've all seen the Instagram posts, the adorable Instagram posts of them together. So let's hear from some of Alex's friends.
I'm so happy for Alex. I mean, honestly, he deserves a drive in this paddock, and he's a great driver and a great person too. I think he's appreciated by everyone in the paddock, and it doesn't happen very often. So I'm very, very happy to see him in the paddock.
I like Alex. He's one of my good mates. I respect him a lot and think he's a very good driver. So just for him to get that second opportunity in Formula One is, I think, a cool thing. And I hope he can do well and show everyone what he's got. But just between us three, we've done a lot of interviews together and videos and things, and we've had a lot of fun and kind of grown up together in a way. So yeah, it's just nice because they're people I know, and I respect them a lot. So it's cool to have them back.
I know Alex has joked about it, but you're going to continue with the topless selfies even when you go to Mercedes?
No, I'm not too sure about that. I think that was a moment of the past. I'll let him take over that spot. Even though he said he won't, maybe we can get.
I don't know how they're going to appreciate that.
I don't know either. I've seen him topless a few times, and I don't think the public will be that impressed.
Now, AlphaTauri, they have had quite the time here in Monza in the past. Obviously, for Pierre Gasly, an incredible win here last year. Sam, do you think they could do something similar?
I don't think it's out of the realms of possibility, but for me, AlphaTauri is a little bit the story for their near neighbours, Red Bull. That Honda power unit, we know that there's some issues with the life reaching the end of the season. Mercedes have similar life issues as well. Yeah. But what we see AlphaTauri do first could dictate what Red Bull do. So actually, while I think the AlphaTauri Honda package should be really quick here around Monza, Yuki Tsunoda's got some stuff to prove here as well. He knows the track, unusually for him. Could they pick up a penalty here and show Red Bull what's going on? Will Red Bull essentially use AlphaTauri to test what the new Honda package can do?
Well, that'll be interesting to see. Obviously, we've had them confirmed as well. They're staying the same pairing. Nice stability, I think, going through How do you think that's going to affect the team? Do you think it's going to help things? They can just like take that off their shoulders and just concentrate.
I think consistency for a team is always good if the two drivers you've got are operating at the level that you want them to be or you believe they can get to. I think with Pierre, he deserves a seat in Formula One. Yes. He ideally deserves a seat at Red Bull, but best case scenario.
I don't know whether he thought he was potentially going to get it, but then obviously once they confirmed that they're keeping their driver lineup, that was it.
Well, he's very happy at AlphaTauri. The team love him. He seems to sit in very well. It's a family outfit. He seems to excel there. The package suits him. Yuki, in the press conference today, he was asked, were you surprised? What did you make of when you were signed? And he was like, well, I was surprised. And Tom asked him, well, why? And he was like, because I kept crashing. Like, what I really like about you is he just says it like it is. And it's really nice that he's going to be on the grid next year because they rate him, Honda rate him, the Red Bull family think that they can give him an opportunity to really excel. It's really nice that they're giving him time. They're not cutting him off if they wanted to and bringing someone else in. So I'm excited to see what the future holds for Yuki.
And I'm excited to see how much more entertainment he brings to the team as we're here from Pierre Gasly.
I'm very pleased to continue with the team. I think it was kind of obvious when Red Bull announced their join in Red Bull that I'll stay with them, and we are achieving some great things together. I'm having my best year in Formula One, and also for the team, I think is their best year since they arrived in F1. So I'm really pleased to be part of this journey and of this whole project together. So exciting, and Yuki keeps us all entertained, so that's good to have him on board.
What's the most entertaining thing that he's done?
Well, you'll be shocked if I tell you also. Just very funny character, and it's good to work with him as well. So
you say you're having your best year, but we can't forget the incredible win here in Monza last year. Do you think you can do something similar this year?
Well, we'll try to work our magic and see what it brings. But last year was extraordinary, and coming back here and just kind of feeling, remembering the emotions that I had last year, even doing the track hole, kind of having these images of Carlos behind me and the spirit and the mindset I was in during the race was pretty special. So I must say it fills me with a very positive energy for the weekend, and I'm very excited to see what we can achieve.
We are starting to lose the daylight hours here, guys, but thankfully we have the nice orange glow of McLaren, or papaya, I should say. Let's talk about these guys, because they've not had the best of luck the past few races. I know Lando wasn't very happy. He still picked up a point at the last race, but he wasn't too happy when I spoke to him earlier. Daniel, I know, hasn't also had the best time, but he was in a great mood. We did spend most of the time talking about his scruffy beard. Which content, which his dad apparently is not happy that he has a scruffy beard, but all that matters is what he does on track. How do you think these guys are going to go this weekend?
Well, I know that he's super excited about F1 Sprint,
yes.
That he thinks that's a format that really suits him. In terms of how they're going to go, I would have thought towards the top of the midfield. Sam probably would be able to make a better prediction than me.
I think they're going to actually cause a little bit of an upset here, because if you think back to the races in Austria, the McLaren was actually the fastest car in a straight line by some degree.
Yeah.
And it seems that orange car, both of them, Norris and Ricciardo, seem to just have setups that work in straight lines. And here at Monza, it's all about the straight lines more than the corners. So actually, I think McLaren really could be right up there at the front. And I'm not the only person thinking that, am I?
No. They actually were saying it themselves. I said, you've got a car that performs well in a straight line. Monza is very well known. It's high speed. It's got long straights. These guys could do something special here, I think. So it'd be interesting to see. And I think it's about time that they kind of had a bit of luck on their side again. It's nice to see them happy. So we'll see about them. And let's talk about Mercedes, because obviously Bottas, they are losing. And they are gaining George Russell. It's huge for them, obviously, partnering Lewis. And Lewis has said, George is the future of this sport. How do you think they're going to be together?
I think it's going to go really well, actually. I think that Lewis is in a part of his career where it's not the same as Lewis versus Nico. It's just a different story altogether. George is at the beginning of his career. I think it's going to be great for George to learn from Lewis. I think that Lewis is going to enjoy the challenge that George brings him. I'm really excited to see how they both get on next year, but I think it's going to be a good thing for these guys.
Yeah, let's just hope it's not a clash like we've seen between Lewis and Max on track for this season, which has been great for us, obviously. We love seeing that battle and a fight for the championship. I don't know, what do we think this weekend? Do we think it's going to be fireworks? There's a lot of noise, so speak up, Sam.
Yeah, well, I think there are going to be fireworks this week because we didn't get it in Spa, high-speed circuit, but we were going to see Verstappen and Hamilton wheel to wheel at high speed round that track. Didn't happen, unfortunately, because of the weather conditions. Red Bull had such an advantage at Zandvoort, we didn't get to see it there. But we know that the Red Bull can deal with the high-speed circuits like Monza, but we are expecting Mercedes to have an advantage. The question is, how much of an advantage? Because I really want to see those two fighting on track because it's going to be really exciting. The last time they really went wheel to wheel, that was Silverstone, and it was another sprint weekend.
Oh, let's hear from those guys, Max and Lewis. Well, obviously we come here, you're 3 points down on Max in the driver standings. If you win the sprint, you could equal that up. So how important is it to get that pole position?
Yeah, it's definitely. I mean, getting pole position is always important, but just beating Red Bull this weekend in both races is. It's not that it's critical, but it's a must. We need to be able to, they've won the last two races, or the last race, and then obviously the one before that wasn't a race, but they won. But yeah, so I think we can't afford to lose any more points, so we've got to be pushing and giving absolutely everything. Bring an A game this weekend.
How different do you think this sprint is going to be to Silverstone? Because I remember you came out there and you were bouncing off the walls because you were so happy with how you qualified at the front for the sprint race.
Yeah, I think I lost ground in the first sprint race, but I think this one could be more exciting because we've got the long straights. Could be maybe more overtaking than we've seen in Silverstone, because once you got around the first lap of Silverstone, it wasn't much of a race as such. Hopefully here you'll see more overtaking.
Do you think we're going to get some closer battles on track this weekend? Does track allow for that?
Depends how much of a pace advantage or whatever between cars, but I don't think we will be as strong as we were in Zandvoort, just purely because of the straight line speed. So I think naturally we'll take a little bit of a step back, but I don't know how much it will be. But yeah, hopefully we can be close to Mercedes to make it an interesting battle. And
obviously it's another sprint weekend, this one. How important is it to kind of get that P1 in sprint to kind of set you up for the race?
I mean, it's the best possible starting position, and you will always try to go for it if it's possible. But still, of course, it's a long run to turn one, so a lot of things can happen.
Well, I'm interested to see what happens this weekend on track between those two for sure. Do we have any predictions, guys? Lawrence?
Yep, so I'm going to go for a Lewis Hamilton victory, a Max Verstappen second, and a Daniel Ricciardo third.
Oh, that's a curveball.
I mean, I've been peddling Ricciardo on the podium for a while. I'm going to stick with it. It's got to come at some point.
And that's what he's after. He has said he wants to get on that podium in Monza, so may your words kind of carry forward for him.
I look forward to the shoey. So, yeah.
Oh, God. I forgot about them. It's been so long. We want another shoey. Sam?
I think you're going to see Valtteri Bottas win the sprint race. The Finn is unleashed. He's not got the constraints of Mercedes over anymore. He can go and try and win everything. We saw it last time out. But I think that'll fire up Lewis Hamilton. Lewis Hamilton is going to take victory in the Grand Prix. However, I think there's going to be a hell of a squabble for second with that Max Verstappen chap. But I think there's going to be a McLaren in third position. But I don't think it's going to be Daniel Ricciardo. It's going to be Lando Norris.
You've almost stolen my prediction, because I was going to go for a Lando. I'm going to go P2 for Lando because I think the McLaren's going to be strung around here. Who's going to win this? Or let's go with Lewis. That car is looking strong. I think around here. We'll see. But obviously, guys, don't forget, it is a sprint weekend. We have qualifying on Friday, which then sets us up for sprint race on Saturday, which sets the grid for the full race on Sunday. And you're not going to want to miss it, because Monza is one of the best tracks on the calendar. So make sure you join us. But thank you for joining us today from all the weekend warm-up team, from myself, from Lawrence, from Sam. Thank you very much. Bye-bye.